Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, station's ready for the event.
Center for Research on STEM Teaching and Learning, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Stillwater Middle School Media Specialist Quinn Baldwin, Oklahoma State University. How do you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear, all the way from the home of the Cowboys. Welcome aboard the International Space Station.
My name's Kate, and my question is, do you ever have fears or get nervous about being in space?
Well, day to day, I don't think about it very much. All of us who fly up here into space, we study a lot about getting to space and coming home from space and the factors, the safety in space. And there's a lot to it. It's a complicated program. There are certainly risks associated with riding a rocket up here and riding the spacecraft back into the atmosphere and being in space for this long. But we have a lot of mission support on the ground who watches out for things like micrometeorites and orbital debris and stuff to try to keep us safe and do so thorough analysis of all of our flight dynamics that we really have a good safety record, and I don't think about it on a day-to-day basis. But I appreciate that it is a little bit out of the ordinary.
I'm Sadie, and I wondered what's the best thing about being in space?
Well, I think the very best thing about being in space is being far enough away from the Earth that you can see how it's really a big sphere. You can see the blackness of the universe. You can see how thin the atmosphere is. And you get to go around the Earth once every 90 minutes and see all of the Earth in the course of just a few days. And so that's really a magnificent thing. There are a lot of other things about being up here. It's really fun to be in this working environment, in this research environment. And then it's also, of course, very fun to be in microgravity and float around. That's a very unusual thing to get to do, too. So those are all kind of toss-ups. It's just a great all-around job. It has a lot of really good perks to it.
Hi, I'm Carson. What happens if somebody gets hurt or needs medical attention?
Well, that's a great question. We're up here right now. I'm up here with 2 cosmonaut crewmates. All of us have operational military backgrounds. None of us are really doctors. So we get a lot of training before we come on medical procedures. Right behind me here, we have a board. Should somebody need to get resuscitated or something like that, we have kits. We have a defibrillator in the floor here that we can get to, and ambulatory packs, and a lot of medical packs to take care of any kinds of problems we think might come up on board. And then, of course, we also have one call all the time, instantly, surgeons on the ground, flight surgeons who can come to our aid and help us with video and talk us through what might need to be done. In a worst-case situation, we might need to bring somebody home in a hurry, and we have a Soyuz lifeboat that we can come home just about at any time we need to. So we're fortunately pretty lucky. We have a pretty good safety record up here, and the specialists on the ground make sure we stay safe.
Hi, my name is Macy, and I wanted to know what made you want to take this opportunity?
Well, I just kind of evolved into the job of an astronaut because I started out being an engineer and a pilot in the Air Force, and I became a test pilot, and I was really interested in how the very, very most intricate nuances of what made aircraft fly. And after being a test pilot for many years, a half a decade or so, the space shuttle opportunity was there. So I really thought the space shuttle was a fantastic machine and wanted to fly it. So I came to NASA first to be a space shuttle pilot, and then this opportunity to do a long duration mission presented itself after that. And I got to tell you, it's a fantastic, it's so much more fantastic than I imagined, getting to spend a long time up here and enjoying space and living in space.
What made you want to work with NASA and why?
Well, almost anywhere I go in the world, people know who NASA is. It doesn't matter what country. I've been to some 40 foreign countries, and they all know NASA very well, of course, because of the great reputation we've had, and in the past, well before I came along, for sure. And there's just so many intricacies with exploration that NASA takes care of for us. They're all about our future and pushing out into a region that we wouldn't have to do. It's not essential, but it's essential to our future, I think. So it's really great to be part of this exploration and doing something special for the future of humankind. So I love NASA for that reason.
Do you ever goof off and float around sometimes?
I goof around all the time. I like to go through the modules upside down when I can and sideways, and we get the opportunity sometimes in the evening just to float. Maybe we'll my crewmates and I will go meet up at the window and just spend some time looking out and talking. And there's some places, the nodes, where some of the modules come together that have big volumes, and we'll get in there and spin around. One of my favorite things is in the middle of the night when all the lights are out in the space station, just to float around in here just really quietly. I don't have to worry about mission control calling me because they think I'm asleep, and I can just enjoy peace and quiet and floating. It's just a surreal experience to be here.
My name is Alex, and I want to know, as future educators, what should we be doing to inspire our students to pursue STEM and aerospace careers?
Well, of course, introduce them to as many subjects as you can. All people find different things interesting, and you never know what might spark a student's interest. I've always felt since I'm so interested in flying and space, that we could do more in our curricula in schools. For example, teaching a little bit about flying and aerodynamics. At the current time, almost everybody travels on aircraft, and as far as I know, most schools don't have a program to teach people about how aircraft really work, what really keeps them up there. It's not the engines, it's the wings that keeps them up, and the airspeed, and those kinds of things that I think should be learned at a basic level to spark interest. And then maybe perhaps in the astronautical field too, because it's very interesting. It's not super hard to understand. It's just that you have to spend some time looking at it and try to understand it to spark an interest. But all kinds of fields are worth looking at and just giving them a broad brush.
Hi, I'm Allie, and I was wondering, do you believe NASA will soon create technology that will allow us to go to different solar systems and different galaxies, or find a way to do so?
Well, I certainly believe that someday we'll do it because we have a long, long future ahead of us. And what we're doing at NASA is so unique. We can look at new propulsion technologies, new material technologies, human presence in space, how to do environmental control for human life support in space. So what we're doing is exactly trying to look at how to do those kinds of things. Now, those places are really far away. Right now, it's unimaginable that we might do it someday, but the same can be said for 150 years ago about flying, just flying in airplanes. So things can change very fast, and I do think it will happen someday.
My name is Emma, and I'd like to know if it's more difficult to sleep in space, and what does your bed look like?
To be honest, it's much easier for me to sleep in space than it is back home. There's no point in rolling over. You're not really touching anything. What we have to sleep in is a cabin. It's not in this particular module, but the cabin is about the size of one of these walls. Some little doors. You float inside. Inside we have really nice ventilation, lighting. We have a computer that we can use, and we have a sleeping bag that's tied to the wall. and I just put my feet up and go down into the sleeping bag and zip it up. I put my arms inside. My face is well ventilated, and I just float to sleep, almost touching nothing. And that's the way I wake up every morning as well. So I sleep really well in space.
My name's Molly, and I would like to know, what is the hardest thing about adjusting to the astronaut diet, and what will you eat first when you get back to Earth?
Well, we don't get a lot of cold foods. So the temperature is either kind of hot out of an oven that we have to heat things up, or room temperature. We don't have a lot of refrigeration. We have one small refrigerator that we use for science and food, so not a lot of food in there. But the drinks are pretty good, nothing carbonated because it's too fizzy and you could make messes inside the laboratory and inside the space station. We don't want to do that. And the diet is all thermostabilized food, something that has to have a really long shelf life at room temperature because it has to be launched well ahead of time and stowed for a long time. Or something that's rehydratable. We can add hot water to it and let it sit for 15 or 20 minutes and then eat it. So the people who design the food have a lot of things to consider. Will it change color? Will it still be tasty in that long a time? So there's somewhat limited variety, but it's all very good and very edible, and you would enjoy eating it too. When I get home, I'm probably going to have something carbonated and something hot, something with fresh vegetables, maybe like a big pizza or something like that with fresh veggies.
My name is Alyssa, and as a future aerospace engineer, we're learning to develop the next generation of space habitats. If there was one thing you could change about the ISS, what would it be and why?
Well, we all would like to have more windows. Windows are good. We have some Earth-facing windows. We have a cupola that's absolutely magnificent. We don't have anything that really looks toward the sky side. And, you know, it's nice to be able to look all directions and have a lot of good views. I guess that might be one thing. One thing I always dream about would be is if I could come up here on Monday morning and work all week and then come home on Friday night, spend the weekend with my friends and family and come back up on Monday. So maybe the future will have that in it. So you don't have to stay in all your leisure time. Just be up here when you want to be. Otherwise, the space station is really a fantastic place to live and work, and I'm really, really enjoying it, sleeping and eating and socializing with my friends. So other than that, I can't think of anything right offhand. It's a great question. I'll think more about it.
My name is Bryce. How do you get supplies and natural resources to the International Space Station?
Oh, that is an excellent question because we're in a vacuum up here well away from Earth, so nothing can get to us except by rockets. People have to launch them. So in the U.S., we have a commercial resupply system now called Dragon, and we're going to have one called the Cygnus upcoming as well that will bring up supplies to the space station. And then in some ways, in a limited way, we can bring some stuff back too, because if we bring experiments up here and we do something, maybe we'd like to bring it back to Earth to look at it, or bring back a broken part because we don't know why it failed. So on the Russian side, they have a Progress spacecraft that comes every few months and brings supplies, brings food and gases for us, like oxygen if we need it, and those kinds of things that we need in water, and more fuel for our space station too. So that's how we get resupplied through rocket and spacecraft.
Hi, my name is Taylor, and I was wondering, has anything ever gone wrong on the International Space Station? And if it has, what was it, and how did you fix it?
This is a very complex system. So I could say something goes wrong, maybe not every day, but pretty close. There's the little malfunctions. We use a lot of computers. We push the edge on technology up here. So we really want things to go wrong because we put stuff up here to test it and to experiment. And so that's the way you learn, by trial and error. So when things go wrong, we can analyze them, figure out what it is, and go on to fix them and make the systems better for those explorations. Since I've been here, we've had some trouble with our toilet. We've had some trouble with our treadmill. We've had some pretty significant trouble with some of the computers, but specialists on the ground have analyzed them and fixed them all up. So it's on a daily basis we're troubleshooting something up here, but that allows us to learn.
What life support, hi, I'm Court, and I was wondering what life support technologies does the ISS have and how long do they last?
Well, we kind of recycle through the different resources. For example, we can use water to make oxygen again, and we can scrub CO2 out of the air and mix it with water to reclaim some of the oxygen out of the CO2, because CO2 has oxygen in it, as the name implies. And then we can turn CO2 and water into a combination of carbon and hydrogen and make methane, and we can dump that overboard. We don't really need that. Another thing we do is we just recycle water on board. We take the water that we collect out of the air, because there's always humidity in the air, astronauts breathing and systems and so forth. And there's a collection of water in the condensate collectors as we cool the air. And also we collect our urine, and then we reprocess it and take everything out of it except the H2O, and then we send it right back up here to my spigot so I can drink it again. So we claim the water. So those are all things that are being tested up here, and they work great. We live with those systems now.
My name is Wamsi, and what is the most exciting machine you use, and what does it do?
The most exciting machine I use? Well, the space station, I like to think of it as a really big machine. It's got thrusters, solar arrays, control moment gyros that help us control our attitude, lots of experiments on the outside, a robotic arm to move things around. It's got an airlock that allows us to go out and do spacewalks. But that's what I love about this business, is there are so many machines. So maybe some of the coolest, I just had the opportunity to fly the big robotic arm today. It's some 50 feet long, and it's got all these joints, and we can move it all around the space station like an inchworm. A spacesuit is really a cool thing that we have up here. It's its own little spacecraft, if you will. It's got communication and a cooling system, an electrical power system, and systems to allow you to get work done outside. So we have a lot of really cool systems. It'd be hard to pick my favorite. I love the rockets, though, the spacecraft getting up and down. So that's probably one of my most dear to my heart.
My name is Zach, and my question is, what are some tasks or jobs that you have at the station?
Well, the job that we want to spend the most time doing, and that right now I spend probably a little less than half of my time, because I'm the only U.S. astronaut on board right now. I'm waiting for a couple more crew members to get here. But our most important job is to do the science. We have all kinds of science racks all around. We help set them up, and then the ground can remotely do some of the science. So we have hundreds of experiments going on all the time. But my work also includes maintaining things, taking care of myself, keeping the space station clean. And right now, I probably spend a little over my half of my time doing those kinds of things. When I have 2 more astronauts on board, then we'll have 2 extra bodies to get all that science done. So we'll be back up to a complement of 3 USOS astronauts, 3 Russian, and we'll have lots of opportunities to get more science done.
Hi, I'm Brennan, and I was wondering, what do you do in your spare time on the ISS?
Well, we spend some of it communicating with friends. We spend some of it just taking care of little things around the spaceship, just like you would at home. We get together and socialize in the evening when we can. And we now have technology that can send a little TV up, so I get to watch a little bit of college football and professional football if I want to, and whatever else happens to be on. So people take care of us. So we always have something to do in our off time if we want to. A very favorite pastime, though, is of course going and looking out the windows, trying to take pictures of your hometown and places you've been before, and that sort of thing. So that's what we do in our spare time here, knowing that we only have a limited time here, and then it's back to Earth.
Thank you, Mr. Ford.
Well, you're very welcome. I think I heard a thank you. Does that mean we're going to have to conclude today?
Yes, that was our last question. Thank you so much for answering our questions, and good luck on the International Space Station.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Just to prove I'm in a strange place here, I'll just do a little somersault for you and say goodbye, and have a great holiday season, and thanks for coming on board the International Space Station. Bye-bye, everybody. Good luck to you at STEM.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes the event.
And thank you, Center for Research on STEM Teaching and Learning and Students. Station, we're resuming normal audio communication.